Greetings everyone, my name is Tanisio Natanasayinima with Nature's Candy Farms, and you are tuned in to another episode of Garden Like a Boss. As always, I encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and of course if you are watching us not only on YouTube but also on Facebook or Instagram, make sure you like this video. On today's episode, I'm going to be going over the subject of growing your own seedlings, meaning I'm going to teach you how to take these packs of seeds and turn it into this tray of plants. I'll be going over how you actually establish the medium that you're going to grow your plants in, as well as the depth and spacing of the seeds, and even how to label them. So make sure, as always, you take copious notes, and if you have any questions, the email address is naturescandyfarms@gmail.com. You are watching Garden Like a Boss.
Hi, I'm Foxwise Portia Bruner, and when I'm out here picking kale for my smoothies or lettuce for my salads, or just checking to make sure that my little garden is on point, I listen to Garden Like a Boss.
Now, when starting our actual seedlings, the most important thing to consider is the actual quality of the seeds themselves. And if you haven't guessed by now, I like to use certified organic products such as these that you see here. Main thing I want to look for is the certified organic logo, and I want to actually verify that this is an actual seed company that truly is certified organic. If you're ever interested in finding out if a company truly is organic, you can go online and check out the Organic Integrity Database, type in the actual name of the company, and you'll find out very quickly if that company is certified organic or not. But with that being said, let's go over the things that are actually listed on the back of a seedling pack. So one of the things that you have to take into account are the actual location of where this crop is designed to grow, and then the time of year within that location that this crop will do best. So for example, this crop that I'm looking at is actually a packet of sweet peppers. They are a bell pepper variety, and within the region of the United States in which I'm going to grow them in, it is best to start them between the months of February and April. Now, if you start them in February, that means you're going to have to start them as seedlings, which is what we do today. However, if you start them in April, you still want to start them as seedlings, but if you're a real risky grower, you could even put these seeds outside and see if they will begin straight out of the ground. I'll be honest with you. I think it's always best to start any of your nightshades as seedlings. That includes your varieties such as tomatoes, bell peppers, eggplant, and then there's other varieties of seeds that you can plant directly in the soil. We won't go over that much today, but just know that that range of time that's described on the back of the seed pack really relates to whether you can plant it outside directly or transplant it from a seedling. You also want to focus on the days to germination that it takes for that seed to actually be put into the ground and then actually emerge. You also want to focus on the planting depth, the days to harvest, which are the days beyond the point in which you plant it, in which you actually expect to harvest its crop, and then the actual spacing of the seedling once it is outdoors. And that spacing, of course, is not only for the plant to be able to grow to its maximum size, but that also allows you to maneuver within your garden or farm setting so that you don't destroy the plants. So, when I am starting my seedlings, one of the main things that I also have to keep in mind is the medium that I grow the seedlings in. And that comes in different varieties. Sometimes I like to use peat moss cubes like this that I can actually dissolve in a bucket of water and then take that actual starter mix and use it to put the seedlings in within a tray. Sometimes I even just buy the tray like you see here, and it actually has starter discs in it, as you see here. These discs are literally just peat moss that are actually encapsulated in fabric that if you water them, they fluff up to a size that allows you to put seeds in. I've even just taken raw peat moss and added other ingredients to it and put that in a tray. Whatever the case may be, you definitely want to use some type of light medium like a peat moss or a coconut coir, and you can even add vermiculite or perlite to it. And these are very good for starting seeds in because seeds need to have a medium that is light enough for their roots to expand, but also ingredients such as peat moss and even cocoa coir, they actually hold nutrients and water and they release it at a pace in which the actual seedling can draw from that source. Now mind you, all seeds are actually feeding themselves in the very beginning, but just know that you want to have a medium that's very easy for the seeds to grow in, and I typically like to use peat moss. However, you can use whatever is comfortable for you. So now, as you see, the peat moss discs have gone from being small discs to, once they have been completely soaked with water, they turn into these nice cylinders that I can now plant in. Alright, so next up is actually planting the seeds into the peat moss. And before we do that, we actually need to fluff up those peat moss cylinders. So all you have to do is put your fingers inside of the actual cylinders through the hole that's open at the top, and then spread it open farther with your actual fingers, as you see me doing with these few right here. And then with regards to the actual seeds, remember, you want to pay attention to not only the seed spacing, but at this stage, the seed depth. And with these particular seeds that I'm planting, they are very, very small. Let me show you what I'm talking about. These are actual pepper seeds, and so, as the packet states, I need to plant these no more than 1/4 of an inch. Now consider the fact that your finger is actually almost an inch from the tip to the first line, and so I only want to put the depth of these seeds in 1/4 of that space. So what I'm going to do is sit them on top and then push them down just about 1/4 of the tip of my finger, and then brush the rest of the peat moss over that. And then I will repeat that process with the rest of the seeds that I have in hand. So now that I've actually planted my seeds into the peat moss, next I want to make sure that I can keep up with which actual seeds that I'm growing and when they're going to be ready for me to put them outside into the actual garden. So what I'm going to do is label them with these tags that you see here that you stake into the actual peat moss itself. And what I'm going to write on it is the actual seed variety as well as the date. So this particular one is called a rainbow blend bell pepper. So I'm going to write on the front, rainbow blend. And then on the back, I'm going to put today's date. And what this will allow me to do is to actually keep up with the actual plant as it continues to go through its different stages. Of course, I need to know when it's expected to germinate, as well as how many dates from now it's going to be required to grow before it's time for me to harvest it. And so I stick that right in the peat moss. And for right now, I'll just let it sit there until it's time to put it outside, and then I'll transfer this tag outside with the plant itself. So, as you can see, the ability to grow your own seedlings from seed is extremely simple when you know what you're doing. You get to save yourself money by growing them yourselves. You have better control over the quality of the seedlings that you get to transplant into your garden. And you even have a deeper, intimate connection with your plants when you've been able to foster them from seed to seedling. So, I hope that this information has been very encouraging and inspiring for you. And if you have any questions, of course, you can always hit me up at naturescandyfarms@gmail.com. I hope you're out there getting your hands in the soil, and until next episode, let's grow together. Alright, so what about those seedlings that I show you I've already planted, i.e. my tomato seedlings? Well, I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of farmer's instincts and put them in the ground. Reason being is I typically want to look for them to be anywhere from about 2 to 4 inches tall. These are actually about 2 inches. Some would say that's a little risky, but hey, I'm going to go ahead and take that risk, because also you want to look for the temperature at night to stay within the 50-degree range and higher. And looking at the forecast, we should be having roughly high 40s to low 50-degree weather for the coming weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and take a chance on it, especially considering that I've seen pollen falling from the actual trees that we have here in Georgia. So I could either keep the plant within this actual paper container here, or I can take it out. what I'm gonna do is actually break it open just a little bit so that it still holds its structure, but also the roots of the plant can begin to establish themselves. And eventually what happens is this paper container begins to dissolve. Also, I want to make sure that the actual plant is in the ground so that when I bury it, I can bury it all the way up to its true leaves. So I don't want necessarily the stalk of the plant to be too far out of the ground. I want to bury it so that the stalk of the plant is in there nice and strong. I put it in the center of this container because when it gets to full size, it's going to be roughly 2 feet wide, and that should be plenty of room for this seedling. So again, pray for me. Make sure that the garden gods are on my side so that I don't lose my plants. And if I do, I guess I'll be making another video for you to explain how you get past that situation. But until next time, y'all, peace. Thank you for watching another episode of Garden Like a Boss. If you have any questions, the email address is naturescandyfarms@gmail.com. Today's soundtrack was provided by Tall Black Guy with the song Simply Timeless, a remix of the Fertile Ground classic Simple Timeless. I appreciate you tuning in as always. And remember, let's grow together. Peace.